Hi, today we're going to talk about B2B versus B2C, and that's business to business versus business to consumer. Um, Let me just say this out loud. If you try to do both of these in the beginning, you're going to fail miserably. I know some entrepreneurs think that it's easy to go ahead and start a business, and they also think that it's easy to start going down the business to business route as well as the business to consumer route. And I got to tell you, they're in for a very difficult fall. Um, God warns about being double minded. And so I would say that if you could stay focused on one or the other, that would be your best bet. All right, let's start out. Just remember that God has called you into business, and you have to use your gifts and talents where He's called you. If He's called you to serve businesses, go ahead and do that. If He's called you to serve consumers, do that. But do one or the other and do them well. All right. Um, let's go ahead and talk about a few differences. All right, on the business side, here's a few things that you're going to need. You're going to need an employee identification number. You're going to need one here as well. All right. You'll also need some kind of business structure. This will be required from the business to business side. When I say a business structure, I mean that you need to be in the US. I'm speaking about the United States only. Sorry about this other countries. You need a business structure like an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp or be a sole proprietor so that they know how to work with you. On the B2C side, the business structure is you need one, but it's not required. All right. You don't necessarily have to do a business structure when you're doing business to consumer. Remember, we talked about the hobby and the hustle. Well, some people sell at farmers markets and a few other places, and they're in business, so they don't need a business structure to sell at a farmer's market. However, you should consider one. All right. Certifications here are not necessarily required, um, but sometimes they are. So you have to understand the business deal to understand if your certifications are required or not. I would say that when you start working in business to business, sometimes they do require you to have certain certifications in order even to do business with them. In this instances, this is still not required, but once again, recommended. And so from a business to consumer side, it's not necessarily required that you get certifications. However, some people that want to do business directly with you may want you to have those certifications. Licenses and insurances. And we're talking about license, insurance, bonding, anything that protects you and your business um, may be required by a business to business. But on the business to consumer side, not always required, again, but recommended. These are recommended. And so as you start seeing why so many people go down the business to consumer route, because it just feels a lot easier, but it is highly recommended that you protect yourself and your assets. Um, let's look at a business bank account. A business bank account is more than likely required from a business to business side because depending on how the company does business with you, they may have to write a check to your business, not directly to you. And so you have to be able to put that into a business bank account. On this side, it's once again, it's not required, but highly recommended. It's highly recommended that you have some kind of business account that's separate from your personal account. Now, how the business will pay you is a little bit different as well. The businesses tend to pay people a little bit differently than getting paid on the consumer side. Business to business, usually when they request work, I'm going to talk about requesting work first, they may require a purchase order. But on the business to consumer side, you may have to write an estimate, okay? And how you ask for the money is on the business side, you ask them through an invoice. And on the business to consumer side, invoice is recommended, but not required. All right. The payment side, the businesses sometimes do ACH or direct deposit, or they send checks, or they use electronic data interchange, or they use some kind of subscription service. These are all different payment methods that businesses use to pay other businesses. When you start looking on the B2C side, they deal with payment systems that take credit and debit. And then they also use cash. Now, you can take checks, but it's not recommended from a business to consumer side because you don't have a way to check on the check side. All right. Let's talk about location. The location is chosen between the businesses, but the location here is things on business to consumer is Amazon or Alibaba or Poshmark or eBay or Facebook or your website or a pop-up market or conferences or some kind of group. In other words, you have to be everywhere the consumer is. And that's what makes the business to consumer a little bit harder because you're going after these individuals one at a time. You're going after businesses in a larger way. And so there's more. Let's go ahead and talk about a few more differences from a business to business versus a business to consumer side. All right. You will need a website, and you'll need a domain, and you'll need an email address that fits that domain. On the business to consumer side,